Hello friends, it's Scott from Flat River Keto. If you're new to my channel, welcome. On my channel, you get to come along for the ride on my keto journey. And it feels like it's been a while since I've shared one of these videos with you, and that's probably because it has been a while since I've shared one of these videos with you. I've been keeping you updated somewhat on my journey via my short videos, and I've been doing an okay job of continuing to get my exercise in, but it's been a real struggle for me for the last several weeks and honestly for the last few months. You guys know that. Um, and so I've been sharing these long form videos less frequently with you. And honestly, I don't often name my videos or title my videos. I mean, I title them eventually, but I don't think about the title of the video too much beforehand. I kind of just share with you what's going on with me, update you, and then throw a title in that has something to do with what I talked about. But today, I thought a little bit about the name of this video, and it's the reality of my sugar addiction. And it's been difficult. It's been really tough. I've been very much off the wagon more than on the wagon, so to speak, since Thanksgiving. And you guys know to some degree before that. That has definitely led to weight gain, to uncomfortable feelings, all kinds of negative things, and a lack of wanting to get on here and share with you. I even said to my wife this morning as I was thinking about sharing this video with you that there's a big part of me that doesn't want to share this video with you. But as my wife pointed out, it's my whole journey, not just the perfect parts of my journey. And so here we go. This is probably going to be a longer update also. But I just wanted to share a couple of things that were kind of catalysts for me in thinking about the direction that things have been going for me for the last little while. And I guess I wrote some things down because there's some things that I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget. So if you see me kind of glancing down, that's because I did write some things down that I wanted to make sure that I talked about. But the first thing that was really interesting to me, you guys know that I am a carb sugar addict and that, one is too many and a million is not enough of any given thing. I've found that to be very much true for me as I've been very much off the wagon for the last few weeks, several weeks. Um, it's not that the holiday season has been any different, but it's that I've been treating it differently because I've been saying yes to things that I normally say no to. As many of you have at your offices, at my office, there have been, various sundry holiday treats. And, usually in years past, I've just said no to all of those things. And this year I've been saying yes. And as my wife and I were actually talking about this morning, a lot of people, most people, my wife included, even though, she's probably done more indulging lately than she's wanted to, and she'll tell you that she's put on a little bit of weight, but she didn't want to, but she's able to like have one or two of something and stop. And my, sugar addiction is that I start and I don't stop, and I keep eating well after I'm full, well after the joy, which wasn't even necessarily the right word, but well after that, the pleasure center in your brain that goes, "Ooh, that's really tasty." Well, after that feeling is gone, I continue to eat, and I think that in some degree it's because I'm trying to get that. It's why I talk about it as an addiction. I'm trying to get that fix, that feeling of how good that first bite was. And by the way, it's never quite as good as you remember it being. But by the time you're on the 50th bite, it's definitely not anywhere near as good as you remember it being. And I've experienced a lot of that this holiday season because, like I said, I've really been doing a lot of indulging and not a lot of clean eating. I've had many, many, many start overs. I've had, I'm going to eat keto today, and then noon rolls around and totally off the wagon. You see those memes or whatever you want to call them on any social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. The picture of like the little salad that you're having for breakfast, and then the tub of ice cream and whole sleeve of Oreos that you're having for dinner. And that's how so many days have gone for me over the last month. Trying to start over again, trying to do things I know that will help me to feel better, and just not being successful and getting to the end of the day and just saying, forget it again. And, off we go and continuing to go off the rails. But as I'm continuing, starting to kind of go off into the weeds, even with what I want to share with you today. But I was watching a TV show that my wife and I watched together. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may not have. It's a show on Apple TV, which my wife and I actually don't usually subscribe to. We do a month in December because we really enjoy Charlie Brown Christmas, which is only available on Apple. Thanks for that. And then we like a retelling of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol called Spirited. That again, only available on Apple, and it's one of the reasons I actually don't like Apple products at all. They are so exclusionary. So I don't have an Apple phone. I have an Android phone, and everything in my life is Android. But so for a month out of the year, we do pick up Apple TV because it's the only place to watch a couple of Christmas shows that we enjoy. And having picked that up this year, my wife and I started watching a show called Shrinking, and it's about a group of psychologists, and one of them had a tragedy in his life. He lost his wife, and he really went off the rails. And it's like sort of him trying to kind of get things back together. And he works with a couple other people. And anyway, not to go too much into the details of that show, but one of the things that you could see was the destructive behavior that he was doing to himself when he had first experienced this tragedy of losing his wife, as a way to cope with that. And that's something that a lot of us obviously do. We have coping mechanisms when things are really difficult in our lives. But as we've watched, there's been 2 seasons of this show. Where I think 1 episode shy of the end of season 2 of this show, and you've watched him kind of pull it back together. And we're getting toward the end of this season, and he's hasn't totally dealt with, in this case, his grief of losing his wife. And so you can see him wanting to go back to the poor choices that he made in the way of coping. And my wife and I were literally watching this last episode, and we're like almost wanting to yell at the TV, like, "What are you doing, you idiot? Don't do that. Don't go back to those bad, choices that you made, those bad habits that you had. They don't help. All it's going to do is hurt you." And like, we're sitting there watching the show, and it was like literally a light bulb went on over my head. And as I'm watching this guy, I pictured me watching myself, and the way that I've been over these last 8 weeks. And if I were watching a TV show of myself, I would be sitting there going, "You idiot! Why are you doing these things and making these food choices that don't bring you joy, are going to make you feel bloated and uncomfortably full, and your joints are going to hurt, and your heartburn is going to come back, and you're not going to be able to fit into your clothes." And I just picture myself watching myself, and it was like I had this epiphany. It's like, why are you doing these things that are not good for you? That first bite may have been good, but man, that 50th bite is not good, and it's not worth it. And yet I have continued to struggle. And I think that has everything to do with the very real addiction that I have to sugar. And it has been a really, really difficult time for me. And trying to start over again and again and again, as I sit here on December 21st, a couple of days away from Christmas, saying that I want to make better choices. But I do. I want to make better choices, and I want to start right now. One of the things that Liz and I actually talked about today was that, I have clothes that barely fit. Like, I'm barely fitting into the size that I currently am. And it's going to be a couple more pounds, and I'm not going to be able, I'm going to have to go buy new clothes in the wrong direction for me. And that is definitely a catalyst that's spurring me to kind of want to be in the right direction. But one of the things that Liz and I were talking about was that making a choice to make better food choices today is not going to have my clothes fit better tomorrow. Here in 5 to 7 days, I'll probably shed some water weight that I've been holding on to, and I might feel a little bit better. But making the choice to eat good for one day is really not going to make that difference. But I am going to feel better immediately. Like, I'm going to sleep better tonight. But it's easy to kind of get into that cycle where we almost tell ourselves that lie that, one good meal I'm going to feel better. But what I actually have found is that one it's really easy to get back off track, because we are um, because we know that one healthy meal is not going to make the difference for us. And so, as you know, as we're going throughout the day, as I've tried many start overs, um, the one of the ways that I've told myself, forget it, is that the one healthy meal is not going to make a difference, and it's not in the grand scheme of things any more than one poor choice at a meal is going to make a huge difference. But it's that compounding effect of continuing to make the good choices or the poor choices that really makes a difference. So anyway, that was one thing that I thought was interesting, is that no, I'm not going to feel better by eating good today, but I am going to feel better by eating good today, but my clothes are not going to fit better if I eat good today. My clothes are going to fit better if I eat good over the next few weeks. But that's not a reason to not do it. Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that as I've sat here through this holiday season, one of the ways that I've talked myself into doing or eating things that I shouldn't, eating things that I don't want to eat, is, it's the holidays, like the scarcity of holiday food. And Liz and I were even talking about that this morning, as she got a few, she's a high school teacher, got a few gifts from her friends. And we were talking about how, she got, I think it was some shortbread cookies, and she was like, oh, I better keep those aside just for the next time that I want them. And she's like, wait a second. If I want shortbread cookies, I can go buy shortbread cookies. And that's so true with holiday food. Like, you're a grown-up. Most of you watching this, maybe there are some kids that watch this, but probably not very many. You're an adult, which means if you want something, you can make it or you can buy it. And we talk ourselves into the scarcity of the holiday food, and with a very, very few exceptions where, there's something that only grandma knows how to make, most things are available all year. Just because the Hershey Kisses are silver rather than red and green, as they are at the holiday time, they don't taste any different. And but we talk ourselves into often making poor choices with the scarcity of those holiday foods. So yeah, anyway, the epiphany that I had, I had to kind of come back around to that I have been kind of caught in this addiction cycle was a tough thing for me to kind of see in myself, and it was important for me to see, but it was definitely hard for me to see. Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is the diminishing returns that I have found from eating junk food. And that is, I think, something that definitely happens to addicts, whether it be food or any other kind of addict. But I even mentioned this to my wife last night. I have not been making good food choices over the last little while. And we went to a wedding yesterday evening and went to the dinner, and I did not eat keto food, had a dessert and everything, and got home. And again, my wife had received some gifts of treats and things, and I went and was eating one of those things, and it's like I could hardly even taste it. And I was eating it because I was searching for this high, for this fix that just wasn't coming, because I've been eating garbage for a while. And so the return, that bliss point that you kind of get when you eat something that has been genetically engineered for you to find and have that bliss point, the returns on that diminish significantly the more and more and more of that junk that you eat. And I have found that, like, it hardly tastes like anything, and I'm sitting there throwing hundreds of calories or thousands of calories into my mouth, and I'm not even enjoying that food. I'm not making a conscious choice to have a pecan cluster or something. I'm just mindlessly continuing to eat, and that is the reality of my sugar addiction. And it's hard to even talk about, because I am so, in some ways, so disappointed in myself for going down that path. But it's something that I need to talk about because it's real, and it's something that's not going away. And I know how that I can deal with it best, and that is to eat clean and eat keto. And when I do that, that addiction goes away, because I'm not feeding that addiction when I don't indulge in sugar and carbs. That crazy part of my brain kind of goes to sleep. So that is what I'm going to do. See if I missed anything else here. Um, yeah, not really. Other than there's definitely an emotional component to this. I'm trying to fill a hole. Um, Not that my life has even been that bad, but I use food as a coping mechanism. And when life gets the least bit stressful or the least bit difficult, that's how I deal with it, is by indulging in things that I think, in the moment at least, are going to make me feel better. And they sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And as you guys know, the long term effects of that are that I spiral down and down and down, and the physical discomfort is amplified by the emotional discomfort and the mental lack of mental clarity that I have when I don't when I indulge in things that I know that I shouldn't. And so, yeah, that's where I've been. And so I'm gonna make an effort, and I'm gonna eat the way that I know I will feel better today. And as I mentioned to you guys earlier in this video, I know that it is not gonna make my pants fit better tomorrow, but I am gonna feel better right away. And if I continue to do this, I will continue to feel better. Don't really have a whole ton of answers for you guys today, but those are some things that I wanted to share with you, because that's what's going on with me. And it's been difficult. And I appreciate your love and I appreciate your support. I know some of you will probably want to reach out and let me know that it's okay. And I know that it's okay. But this is the reality of my health journey, and this is where I'm at right now. I love all you guys, though. I want you to know how much I appreciate you, my subscribers to my channel. You're wonderful. You are so supportive and so encouraging, and I appreciate that so very much. It's one of the reasons that I feel okay about sharing the huge bumps in the road that I have dealt with over the last little while. So probably will not share another video with you. I might have another short video, but will not share another long form video with you. So I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Hope that you enjoy spending time with your family and your friends. And we can do this, and I can do this day by day. Keep calm and keto on, my friends. We'll talk with you again soon.